bada boom, bada bang, bada bop. We are back today with the Nike Vomero Plus. Finally, man, I know people were waiting and waiting and waiting. I had to make sure I came through clean though. Came through clean with the right colorway, with the right swag, with appropriately thrashed legs because it's a max cushion shoe. I want to make sure I'm testing it and doing my due diligence. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. You're in the right place. Also, if you're looking for a shoe like this, you should check out the Supwell app. It's my app. It's the best buy, sell, and trade marketplace out there. I actually have seen some of these go up on the app. Here's what happens. People get a shoe like this. Maybe it doesn't work for them, or they realize they don't want it after putting a run on it or even stockpiling it for a while, so they list it on the app well below MSRP and pass along a deal to a hobby jogger. We also have the best training community out there, so if you're looking for a new group of people to help you be accountable, get after it, work toward your next race goal, you can join up, put your race on the race calendar, and you'll have a whole community at your back cheering you on. So get in with us and enjoy today's video. I had to spin Dr. Birds this morning because my guy Larry was in the comments talking about how he locked in on this channel when I called his shoe a brick and said I was going to write brick on my brick. Hopefully we're not going to be writing brick on any bricks today. We got the Nike Vomero Plus here, man. We had to get fired up for this one. I know this is what you all have been waiting for, man. You can pause the little Mega Blast reviews. You can go ahead and pause the low mileage Sonic Blast reviews. We off that. We're not messing with that today because we're coming to the Mint Hill shoe market. We got the Vomero Plus. I don't care that this came out a week ago. I don't care if your second favorite shoe tuber got this a month ago because we're out here in Mint Hill. We're going to stack some mileage on this. Also, I just want to say I appreciate all the people who were rocking with it yesterday when we had a man versus mileage showdown, just struggling through some horrible miles in the Mizuno Neo Zen. That shoe is not horrible. I was just feeling horrible. But everyone who was rocking with the Mizuno reviews, no, it's not the most hyped up. The people who put in the work when we do the training talks, everyone who's in the community getting after it, man, I appreciate you all because we're out here on that independent grind, buying the shoes ourselves, stacking the mileage, trying to get after it, trying to balance the training with the shoes. And I just appreciate everyone who connects with the mission, everyone who connects and buys the merch, everyone who's a member of the app. All my slug life homies out there riding, stacking mileage. All right, we got the Vomero Plus. I'm actually super excited for this one, not because it's the most hyped up shoe, and boy, is it the most hyped up shoe. I actually took some notes here. Hold on, let me fire up my notes from last night. Dude, people are so obsessed with telling me to change my phone passcode. Like, dude, if you have find my phone, you can have it. Look, it's cracked. I also had to update it to iOS 18.6 or something last week. This is some iPhone from 2022. The case, these iPhone cases are terrible. It's all falling apart. And then because I had to update it, so the reason I had to update it was so I could get into my gym. They have this app, and it wouldn't let me download the app for the new gym, the key card, unless it was updated. So I update the phone. Now the battery life is about 3 hours. I mean, look, it's about 8 a.m. right now. It's already on 63%, and I woke up at about 6:30, so not great. But here are my Vomero Plus notes. I might have to write brick on my brick on this thing. This is essentially just a glorified brick at this point. But Vomero Plus is what people are saying. It's very humid out here today. Let's dust off our screen. The best max cushion shoe of all time. Yes, that is what people are saying. When I did my Puma MagMax revisit earlier this week, I now have this at about 240 miles. We can round up, call it 250. That's some significant mileage, especially if you're a shoe tuber, man. I don't get many shoes up to 200. This is the only shoe I've gotten up to 200 training shoe in the past few years. So really high praise from me. This is my favorite max cushion shoe of all time. I also think it's objectively the best max cushion shoe of all time. And it's hard to say that, but it works well for a lot of people. The foam is great. It's durable. It also just completely takes the burden off my legs, makes it so much easier to run. But on that video, people were saying, How are you going to call this the best max cushion shoe of all time? The Vomero Plus is the best max cushion shoe of all time. Bro, the Vomero Plus has been out for 6 days. Not even. It's been out for 5 days. We can't call something the best max cushion shoe of all time if it's been out for 5 days. I'm sure it's pretty dang good. I'm hoping it's pretty dang good from what everyone's saying. But best max cushion shoe of all time. We have to put at least 50 miles on it to say that, right? This is at almost 250, so I feel confident saying that. Okay, best max cushion shoe of all time. What else are people saying? Ben Parks said it was unstable. That was another one I saw. I think someone posted that on the Supwell app. Someone else said Ben Parks was exaggerating because they tried it on in store and it was not unstable. That's my favorite. They tried it on inside the store, so Ben Parks was wrong. Yeah, that's another good thing. Sometimes people will say, after I do a review, they'll say, I tried that shoe on in store. It was nothing like you described. Bro, did you run in it or did you try it out in store? So we'll keep an eye on the stability today. Also, shout out to Ben Parks putting in work, man. I don't know how that guy does it. It's like, I'll post a review, Rebel V5, for example. Maybe I'll get, on a popular shoe, 15,000 views. Believe in the Run will get 25,000 views. Kofuzi will get 30,000 views. And then Ben Parks, he will get 150,000 views. So I have no idea how my man does it, but he is absolutely putting in the work, and he buys everything himself. That's a true OG in the game right there. All right, somebody else said it's a better Nimbus. Okay, so we have the Nimbus out here as well today. Dude, this thing it's got to be top 5 most underrated shoes out there. It is a really special shoe. The mileage capability, the foam FF Blast Plus is really nice. It is very similar to a MagMax. Now, it doesn't have the same amount of bounce, but the impact absorption, the comfort, also the toe box and everything, so good. And then it doubles as a super comfortable walking shoe. So this might be there's probably second most slept on max cushion shoe behind the Skechers Aeroburst. It's also just a shoe that works well for a lot of people. It's surprisingly versatile. You could do strides in it. It's just because it's named the Nimbus, and because the Nimbus is one of those just old school heritage lines in the game now, it doesn't get that much pop. But you know what does get pop these days, ironically? It's like the Nimbus 3 becomes a lifestyle shoe. The Vomero 5 becomes a lifestyle shoe. But if you look at actually the Sonic Blast and the Mega Blast looks like a Nimbus with the heel and the geometry and everything. So it's almost like they decided, hey, can we make the Nimbus cool again? Let's call it the Mega Blast. And I'm sure everybody is going to buy that. So a better Nimbus, that's what somebody said about the Vomero Plus. Okay, what else? Okay, I was just wondering here, can it save my marriage? Because a lot of these top tier shoes, they can either help you pay down your student loans, save your marriage, get you a promotion. Maybe they can help me recoup the money that I spent on the new AC unit. Maybe he'll mow my lawn for me. I don't know. It seems like this could be one of those life-changing shoes. So Vomero Plus, what is this thing? It is the Redux, or the update to the Nike Invincible. Now, one of the weird things with Nike's whole new naming system is they went Pegasus, Vomero, and structure. Pegasus is supposed to be about responsiveness, Vomero about cushion, and structure about support. A lot of people out there, me included, and I think Barrett might be the first one who mentioned this to me, think that this silo, this product line, should have been named Invincible. That would be way better, right? Invincible, Invincible Plus, Invincible Premium. They decided to go Vomero. So you have the standard Vomero here, Vomero 18, which I really liked. It's more of a just everyday shoe, not the most bounce. Top layer of ZoomX here gives you really nice comfort, but it doesn't have any of that get up and go that a lot of these other shoes with the race foams have. So it's all about the comfort. Way more of a short distance or shorter mileage shoe for me. I don't love taking it past an hour. I know Connor Mance did a 22-mile long run or something. Oh, that was the other thing about the Vomero. I should have showed that. Maybe I'll show it later. But Connor Mance did a 25-mile long run in the Vomero Plus. But yeah, he trains in these shoes a lot. This is the standard shoe, $155. This is the bottom of the Vomero line. Now we're getting into the Vomero Plus, $180, which is the replacement for this guy, the Invincible 3. So this has 100% of the ZoomX foam. It's actually not the same exact ZoomX compound as the Alpha Fly and the Vaporfly. It is not PIBA. I learned that it's some sort of other TPE or TPEE sort of compound. Not bad, but just not the same thing. I actually did my homework. Now, this is the benefit of me having to wait for the shoe that's in the box here. I did my homework. I went back on Saturday. I did a stroller run with Roni, and I pulled for the Invincible 3. It still felt good, but it was wild to me how low this felt in comparison to the new releases. It felt way lower and way less protective than the Vomero 18. I don't know if that's because just how long this has been out. This shoe was probably manufactured 2 years ago, so has the foam compressed? Or is it because stack heights really have gone up, or because of how soft this foam is? Because this foam is very soft. It goes down a lot. But I was surprised at how much ground feel flexibility I felt in this. It almost was like a Rebel V3 or something. And it's not just me who says that about the shoe, especially midfoot and forefoot strikers comment on how with this old school, it's not old school, but with the Invincible 3, you don't get a lot of foam up in the forefoot. That was a critique of the Vomero 17 as well. So with the new Vomero Plus here, they're going up in stack height. It's a super max stack shoe. You get 100% of the ZoomX. It's designed for comfort. It's designed for support. It's designed for, well, not support, but to take the burden off your legs. And it's designed for long runs. The reason I'm excited about it is because with a lot of these super max stack shoes, Neo Vista 2, absolute banger. My favorite long run shoe of the year. Brooks Glycerin Max, another banger, old school classic at this point. It's an OG, so I'm calling it old school because it came out in 2024. Another great shoe, right? Even the Nimbus, to a lesser extent. A lot of these shoes, more V6. I wouldn't put that in this category, but you guess you could put it up there, or the Balos. They all have lower drops. Nimbus is the highest drop out of this bunch at 8, so it's in that in-between zone. The MagMax is 8, but these are 6 and 5, and they just feel very flat, and having this lower drop can put more stress on your legs, lower legs, and particularly for those of us who are running hard workouts in carbon-plated shoes, you're already going to be putting a lot of stress on the calves. Even if the shoe has a higher drop, you just get up on that forefoot and you rip, which really stresses the legs and the ankles. So it's a nice alternative for me to have something like either the Vomero Plus or the standard Vomero or the MagMax with that higher drop, because it switches up what we're working. So that is my frame for this shoe. Can it be a nice alternative to the MagMax? I'm not going to tell you today whether it's the best max cushion shoe of all time. My plan is not to come in here and burst the hype bubble and say it's terrible, unless it actually is terrible. I highly doubt it. My plan is my goal is to see, can this be a nice higher drop max cushion shoe for those recovery days? Is it one that I can train in, get more miles in, and eventually, potentially, become a MagMax type shoe? All right, with that, let's open this bad boy up. I really put my heart and soul into that intro overview section right there. Whew, I had to take my crew neck off and everything. It's a lot of pressure, man. It's a lot of pressure because I know everyone wants to see Vomero Plus. So we got a lot of eyes on us today. I want to make sure I can deliver the goods. You know who else needs to deliver the goods? Nike with the Vomero Plus. I mean, look at this, man. There is nothing that gets me more amped for a running shoe than an orange Nike box. And you can call me a Nike fanboy if you want. I don't really care. I am a Nike fanboy. If you grew up where I grew up, man, just that feeling of getting a fresh pair of Air Force Ones, a fresh pair of Dunks. And I would have to find these cool shoes at Marshall's. I came through clean. I would come through clean off the Marshall's drip. Boys don't really know how we used to get fresh back in Lowell, Massachusetts, man. We were really out there. So when I see this orange Nike box, it reminds me of that. It reminds me of my lacrosse cleats in high school when I played lacrosse, right? Taking out a nice pair of clean turf dogs. It reminds me of a fresh pair of basketball shoes. So everything about Nike just gets me excited to put in the work. Their slogan, what's their slogan, man? Just do it. Just do it. Bada boom. Oh, man. Talking about all these sports I used to play, I can't even hit the bottom. Ready? Bada boom, bada bang, bada bop. Oh, man, look at that. Yeah, so we had to come through with the drippiest colorway of them all. This has the Nike running logo with the reverse check on it. I mean, that is just fire. You get the big stack of Zoom X right there. Also, this feels way lighter than I thought. Let's see. Is it lighter than the MagMax? I don't know, but for how tall it is, it might not be the lightest on the scale, but for how tall it is, it feels very light. Also, let's see, Zoom X foam. Man, this feels like a nice foam. Look at that. Softness. And I can also see, so I know we're going to have some stability concerns here, at least according to the Ben Parks review, so we'll keep our eye on those. But from what I'm seeing here, they're wrapping up this foam super high up the sidewalls here. Look at that. Almost just as high. Yeah, very similar to the MagMax. So this is going to be the comparison for me. Maybe I'll do a full comparison video, but just the frame today, man, it's all about the MagMax. This is my absolute favorite in this category. And just right off the bat here, you get a very similar stack height, but some more comfort-oriented improvements versus the MagMax. Look at this. Thick padded tongue. This upper looks really nice. That's an issue that some people had with the MagMax, the toe box. This Nike toe box in the front here, can you see that? Slightly wider up here, right in the front. Similar room through the midfoot. It even looks like it has a more voluminous midfoot here. And then if we compare that to the Vomero 18, you get a nice lighter weight upper here with a very similar padded tongue. So that was the number one selling point for me with the standard Vomero, just how comfortable it is, the softness, the padding, the cushion. You're getting all of that in the Vomero Plus, just with more Zoom X foam. Also with this colorway here, also the upper too, it does give me some of those old school Air Max vibes. I know that's what a lot of people said about this when it first came out, at least the leaks of it, that it was giving, I think Air Max, what was it, Air Max 95? I can see that with the, is it the 95 that has the upper like this? Regardless, I can see that with the upper here. It is giving me some of that Air Max aesthetic. Now, softness of the foam. Let's do one more test here before we get our specs. This is feeling like a fresh foam. That's the softness I would give it here. Now, let's compare that to the Neo Vista 2. Man, very similar. Neo Vista 2, I have 100 miles on this thing. The Nike might even have some more response to it, but it is fresh, so we'll see how that evolves. So, yeah, what I was going to say is the Conor Mantz run. I actually took a screenshot of this because this is what piqued my interest a ton in this shoe. All right, so look at this. 25.5 miles. It's going. It went 25.5 miles. He was cooking in the 530s, which for him is not really cooking. But then he did a pace pickup at the end here from mile 22 to 25, 434, 431, 439 in the Vomero Plus. So almost a dang near full marathon in the Vomero Plus. He has access to all the Nike stuff. He also trains in the Alpha Flies. He trains in the Vomeros, but that made me think this is a legit shoe, maybe even a comfort-oriented Superblast. And that's the thing with the Superblast, right? If you follow the Connor and Clayton series, you'll see Clayton Young training in the Superblast and doing long runs with marathon pace pickup in the Superblast. That is not something that I personally would do in the MagMax. For me, this thing really maxes out for strides or short pace pickups, but I'm not going to hammer marathon pace or threshold in it. I've done it once. It can do it. It's serviceable, but just not what I'm likely going to do if I have the choice. So that's my question with the Vomero Plus. Can this even elevate one category above? Can it add an additional capability similar to a Superblast that we might not be getting in the MagMax? There's only one way to find out, but first, let's get the specs. All right, man, weighing in the Nike Vomero Plus. Is this the most hyped shoe of the year? I think it might be. The weight is really not bad. Let's get some baselines here. So standard Vomero, that is most certainly heavier. Let's zero this out. This is definitely heavier. This is up at 330. Yeah, 326 grams. Now, Nimbus, one category below here, 318 grams. Now, if we go to the direct category, the direct competitors of the Vomero Plus, Neo Vista 2, this is all about the lightweight. That is one of the benefits of the shoe. Truly a remarkable shoe, man. I wish this one were getting more pop because this is the best high mileage shoe of the year. I don't know if it's dethroned the MagMax. They're also just slightly different. This one has less stability, but it's lighter weight, easier to turn over the legs. The MagMax is more about the bounce and the support, but super light at 286 grams with a 45 plus millimeter stack height. Now the MagMax, the top dog, the big cat, 322 grams. Let's get the Glizzy on there. Glizzy Max, 333 grams. Ooh, that's a big boy. That's a big boy for sure. And now let's get the old school, the Pater, the father. 302 grams in the Invincible 3. So all these shoes are above 300 except for the Neo Vista 2. I don't think they've gone for as aggressive lightweight here in the Vomero Plus. Let us see. Look at that, 313. I knew it felt light, man. That's lighter than all these shoes except for the Neo Vista 2. So that's really good, man. I've been getting on Nike, and a lot of us have, for one, their pricing, just having everything be unnecessarily expensive, which this is not. I'm so glad they priced it at $180. That's competitive, man. That's cheaper than the Superblast. That's cheaper than the Neo Vista 2. Same price as the MagMax. That feels really good to me. It's also only $5 more expensive than the Bandai. And with Nike's pricing strategy, you're definitely going to see this on sale for $140 or $150 soon. You'll be able to pick it up at the outlets for $110 come Christmas time. So the price, they've cleaned that up. And then the other thing is the weight, man. I've been getting on them for at least put out a competitive shoe with a competitive weight. I was so upset that the standard Pegasus was, I think, heavier than this. Man, let me go check. All right, let's check this. No, it's not. It's not heavier, but close. Look at that. Standard Pegasus is 303 grams, but just look at the difference in stack. And this is the other thing that I wanted to point out, right? Nike with the 10 millimeter drop, their classic issue has been, yeah, you can have a 10 millimeter drop, you can have an 8 millimeter drop, but what they do is taper it super aggressively, so it almost feels like a 20 millimeter drop, and you're just getting no foam right up here on the forefoot, because they might be measuring it right here when they say 10 millimeters. So if you look at another relatively high drop shoe like the Nimbus, you still get a lot of foam where it's tapering up, where the toe spring is. And Nike has now finally done that. They haven't done the super thin thing in the forefoot, which should give this a different feel. This should potentially ride in the front like it has more stack on paper, or at least not so aggressively like it's slamming your foot down. They've also added a good rocker here. They haven't done that on a lot of their shoes. I mean, look at the Pegasus. It is a very flat and traditional shoe. Same thing with the Vomero here. You don't get much of a rocker up there in the front. You have a slight toe spring, but we are finally getting a good rocker here in the Vomero Plus. And the geometry, just eyeballing it, I mean, look at this. All right, photographic memory. Take a picture of that with your brain. Boom, the geometry. Now look at this. Very similar. I'm doing the magic thing. I'm going to say bada boom, and then when I say bada bang, the Nike will be in my hands. Bada boom. Bada bang. Very similar, right? So good job, Nike, all around on this update here. Let's get a quick QA check. 313. Don't let me down here. I've just said so many good things. Oh, gosh. 313. The other side is 303. That's not terribly off, but now this side is as light as a Pegasus. Look at that. 303.5. Oh, it's still 0.3 grams heavier, but that's wild. Just as light as the Pegasus on the lighter non-QA certified one. Let's get a stack check. Man, I was having some trouble with the Stackerator recently, so hopefully it cooperates today. We could make this relatively quick because it's been a yap trap out here today. Looks like it's going to cooperate. All right, so let's get a check on the Invincible 3, the forefather of the Vomero Plus. This has probably 50 miles on it, and like I said, it was manufactured 2 years ago or something. Oh, gosh. We're having issues with our Stackerator again. Okay, we finally got it. 33 millimeters. Only 33 millimeters in the Invincible 3. Man, that is low stack for 2025. That is lower than the Rebel, lower than the Cumulus, lower than the Nova Blast. So this should show you how much stuff has changed, right? Let's get the Big Daddy now, Vomero Plus. I would usually measure them all, but I'm having a lot of issues with the stack reader. I think I'm going to order a new one on Amazon. So let's see. Boom in the back here. Respectable. That is respectable. 43 millimeters. I was honestly expecting it to be higher up. I was expecting this to be 50, but maybe that's where the Vomero Premium comes in. Yeah, 43.8 on the left. Okay. Let's get the right. I think this is my first moment of disappointment here, but maybe that's because the Premium has to be the 50 millimeter stack one with the AirPods and those behemoth units in it. Yeah, 41.7. So just about 42, 43 in the Vomero Plus. That is still super max stack. Let us finally get this thing on foot and see how it feels. Absolutely out of control today. But something I noticed as I was getting some shots of these, some glamour shots that I didn't notice at first, is take a look at this. ZoomX, tuned for maximum cushioning. So ever since, and I don't know if I can take full credit for this, but ever since people started caring more about the foam compounds and standardization and not being led astray, transparency, I've noticed Nike has actually done a better job at talking about this and not just saying ZoomX. They're saying tuned for maximum cushioning. They're still trying to backdoor call it ZoomX, but they are admitting that it's something different than the race foam. So nice job, Nike. Kind of. We would like if you actually disclose what's in the foams, but I know the brands are going to say those are trade secrets, and they can't do that. Anyway, we have the Vomero Plus on foot here. This upper is a banger, man. Look at the lacing system here with these, I don't even know what you call it. Is this the fly wire? Is this the old school Nike fly wire? Dude, so good. It just cinches down perfectly, man. Nike's upper game is actually really strong. The upper on the Vomero 18 was great. Even the Gloomfly bricks, which I hated, that had an awesome upper. Same thing with the Vaporfly 4, which is extremely mid. That upper was stellar in the Alphafly. So continuing their tradition of upper excellence here. Feels lightweight, cinches down perfectly, super comfortable, good padding on the tongue. Also, tons of room here. Feels decently voluminous. It's not narrow at all up in the front. And I crank these laces down decently tight. So if you have a wider midfoot or you need some more room, you can definitely get this up and accommodate a higher volume foot. Now, downsides I'm noticing here are just something I'm surprised about. It is not a super soft step-in feel. I was expecting a way softer step-in feel. Also with the stability, not unstable, but it feels narrower than I expected in the back. It's not giving me as much of that cradling feel that you get with the MagMax. So we'll take a look at that as we get through this run. It definitely does feel like a tall and narrow shoe in the back. It doesn't feel like a wider platform shoe like a lot of these shoes are doing. Nimbus, MagMax, Superblast, Glissy. All right, walk test. Yeah, so from the walk test here, it feels like I am on the foam versus in the foam. And when I say that, they're not wrapping the foam up. They're not cradling it all that much. You only get about 5 millimeters of wrapping here. So it feels low in terms of the support, and then the stack height just feels monstrous. I mean, we only measured it in at 43, but it feels very tall and narrow compared to a lot of the shoes out there. And if you take a look at this, I mean, under my weight, it's not compressing a whole ton. So this doesn't feel like a more V6 where you're sinking into it. It doesn't even feel as sinky-inny as the Vomero 18. So first impressions here, this feels like it's going to be a faster shoe than I expected. It's not coddling me in comfort below. It actually feels like it's going to have some good snap and response. Now we'll see how that evolves, but that is very similar to the Invincible 3. It was soft, but it was also about the pop and the bounce, and people like that shoe for pace pickups as well. So maybe this is going to be closer to the Superblast than it is to the MagMax. We will just have to see. With that, plan for this run, 10 miles. I really want to do another super high mileage day, but I told myself yesterday I would cap today's total mileage at 16. So I think we're going to do 10 max, maybe 12 if I'm really feeling good, but why don't we just say 10 max? No need to be a hero. That's a good first run length. 10 miles, let's do it. All right, let's do this thing. Maybe the stability on this is bad, so that we'll have a reason to buy the Structure Plus. And what even is the Structure Plus gonna be? Is that gonna be a Kayano competitor, I guess? This is bouncy. This weirdly feels dual foam. I don't know if it's the 10 millimeter drop, but the heel and the forefoot feel different. Feels like with the heel, I'm sinking in more, getting more bounce, and the forefoot is firmer. But yeah, this is good. Out of the box, man. Good bounce. I like the forefoot feel. Great protection. It feels very bulbous in the back. I don't know if it's the width or maybe the curvature of the foam, but the stability is not as good as the MagMax. But man, this feels like it has some horsepower. I'm not feeling particularly strong today. This is another recovery day, but I feel like I could absolutely rip in this thing. Crank some strides at least. Maybe do some progression runs. This is nice. It feels very similar to what I thought, except the stability is worse. Just feels kind of narrow, weirdly narrow. Also, it's wet out here, meaning I'm gonna have to get my crispy Nikes dirty on the first run. Man, I think some people are gonna love this as a first marathon shoe or half marathon shoe. I'm only half a mile in here, but feels decently light for the cushion and just that bounce, especially if you're a bigger runner. Man, I don't think you could bottom this thing out. It feels like a complete tank. Definitely firmer than the Invincible, but in a good way. So I don't know if this is gonna save my marriage, but so far I don't know if I would say I'm surprised, but so far this lives up to my expectations. The one thing with the geometry and all this stack and the drop, I am thinking about how I'm landing. So could be that I just need some time to adjust, but it's not quite disappearing on foot yet. I'll just see how that evolves. Now it's pretty slick out here. The grip is good, maybe okay. It is not Puma grip. And I'm not slipping and sliding, but it just doesn't have that extra bite of the Puma grip. So that's something I keep in mind. This is my bloke's worst nightmare right here. An all white shoe with no grip. Give a British brother the night terrors. Mile 1, 7:59. That's my first mile in the 7s in 3 days. So one thing about the 10mm drop geometry, it creates this triangle platform and it can feel aggressive. Ironically, because people think of these 10mm drop shoes as good for heel strikers. But what I'm noticing, and this happens with a lot of the Nikes, is if the heel is firmer, you can't compress it. So it puts you on this platform. It's like walking in a pair of high heels. Puts you right up on your toes. So that's very much how this thing feels. It has that stiletto feel where I'm just right up on my tippy toes. Maybe the foam will break in and allow me to use the heel more. But as of now, it really wants me on the midfoot and forefoot, which is making it slightly worse for the relaxed paces than I expected. I also think if they extended the foam off the back more, that would allow for better landing toward the middle and the back. Yeah, so the ride is nice, but I think my surprise is more aggressive than I thought. Definitely more aggressive than the Nimbus. You boys talking about the Sonic Blast. I'm just trying to make my comma stack. Thought I lost my swag. Nah, I got it back. This almost feels like a Zone 3 Max Cushion shoe. Feels like it wants me to get up on the front. Maybe I'm too slow for this. Am I too slow for the Vomero Plus? I mean, if Connor Mance is ripping 440s in this, I'm definitely too slow. I think I'm using it wrong. 440 pace only. Mile 2, 7:55. Yeah, I can definitely confirm the stability is not on the same level as some of the other Supermax Dex shoes. So if that's what you're looking for, I would stick with the Superblast or the MagMax. Where this seems is gonna shine is a long run shoe for potentially picking up the pace. So a Superblast that's not a brick. It definitely wants me to get up and go. It's almost Nova Blast like. It just wants me to be running faster, which I was not expecting. Yeah, I'm at 7:10 now, so just faster onto my daily miles. Definitely feels better here. Yeah, 6:45. This is the best it's felt. I'm gonna pull back because I need to recover. But it doesn't feel like this is a recovery shoe. And man, these are the shoes that I know a lot of people love. The Evo SLs of the world, the Superblast of the world, where you gotta crank. You either gotta be a bigger runner to activate the bounce at the slower paces, or you gotta pick up the pace. For me, these shoes generally are not my absolute favorites. Because if I'm in a max stack shoe, I want that relaxed comfort. But we'll see, maybe this will break in, because I felt the same about the MagMax at first. I almost think this should be the Pegasus Premium, the daily trainer, top of the line, responsive one, in Nike's words, responsive. That's what it's giving me. It feels like that Pegasus Plus, right? That aggressive bounce with the snap, but in a max stack, longer run package. It's really nice, but I'm surprised that this is the ride experience I'm getting. Mile 3, 7:43. This is the fastest I've run all week, because that's what this shoe wants me to do. It wants you to land on that midfoot. It wants power on the midfoot. And then you can use the heel as a wedge. So what I'm realizing, mile 3.5 here, this foam compound is really nice. I like it a lot. It's just the geometry is not great. And that's Nike's main area of improvement. I thought they had fixed it on this, but it still does have that 10mm drop feel, and it's just throwing me off. The forefoot's not too low or anything, but it just wants you to land slanted like this, which is good if you're feeling good and running with strength, but it's not letting me hang back as much as I would like. It really is like that Evo SL, man. This geometry wants you to attack the ground. Mile 4, 7:37. I'm telling you, man, this is the fastest I've run all week. It's interesting, man, the whole stability thing. Some of the fastest guys in the world are not using this as their daily trainer. They're using the structure. Cole Hawker, Cooper Tier, who, by the way, I found out is also a West Side Gun fan. But for relaxed miles, it's nice to have a shoe that feels relaxed. This does not particularly feel relaxed. This feels like a Mustang or a bucking Bronco. It's wild. And I know the big trend of 2024 was to say, oh, shoes have gotten too boring, too stable. If you want a squirrely, unstable shoe, go ahead and pick this one up. The heat and the humidity is back, man. You can hear those cicadas again. Especially with the hills, and that effort level is getting up there this morning. Mile 5, 7:30. All right, here's the take. Better Nova Blast. That's what this is, not better Nimbus. I'm guessing the person who said that meant faster Nimbus, because it certainly is faster than the Nimbus. At least it naturally wants to lock you into a faster pace than the Nimbus does. I wouldn't say it's better than the Nimbus, there's different purposes, but if you think about the use case of the Nova Blast, that's how, at least so far, I would use this thing. Faster daily miles, fun, bounce. Definitely not comfort as the absence of anything bothersome. You get a lot of cushion, but it's boinging you right along, especially when you land up at the midfoot. So there's this quality that the best training shoes have for me, where they let you sink in at slower paces. Aero Glide, Nimbus, MagMax, Glizzy. Aero Burst has it too. But then when you give it some gas, they respond. This has the response, but out of the box here, it doesn't have the sink at the slower paces. It's just weirdly aggressive. Not a race shoe or anything, but compared to what I thought the intended purpose was. And Ben Parks is really like the Juicy J of shoe tube. He's been in the game for a long time. It's not OG. A lot of shoe tubers don't have a back spine. I only mess with Ben Parks and Matt Klein. A lot of shoe tubers triggered over that line. Make them take a break like halftime. Mile 6, 7:38. Where I'm landing on this one, it's really good. The ride is really good. The foam feels nice. It's standing up nicely to time on feet so far. I don't think we're gonna get the Vomero 18 thing where it's mushy. It's just a lot different than I expected. It is pretty much the opposite of what I expected. I thought it was gonna be soft, relaxed, comfort oriented. Instead, it's not firm, but closer to Goldilocks zone, peppy, borderline aggressive. I mean, for the category, for a max cushion shoe, might be the most aggressive. The other thing is maybe it needs some break-in, because if this heel can soften up, that would really change the feel of this shoe. 150 shoes, that's a lot of bands. Cruising in my Nikes like I'm Connor Mance. If I shook your hand, I have to wash my hands. Please don't call me bro. You are not my mans. Mile 7, 750. I've been thinking of doing a series for Instagram, Soviet nesting dolls, where you have one shoe inside the other, inside the other. This would be the shoe on the outside. Inside it would be the Nova Blast. Inside that, the Evo SL. Inside that, the Fast R3. Not only are they all the most hyped shoes, but that peppy, aggressive forefoot feel. Also, hype aside, I do think this is a nice update to the Invincible in terms of the fun, the bounce, the max cushion feel. And it's hard because people put these stratospheric expectations on Nike, but they did a nice job with the update. Man, the humidity is just crushing me today. It's not even that hot. It just feels like I'm swimming in the air. My shorts are soaked. This week is humbling. It's humbling for sure. Back to the 8s. Oh, the 8:11 pace. So what happens though, you crank up the dial on the volume, it gets tougher. Now I'm gonna attempt some strides as soon as I finish this elevation right here. Yeah, my legs feel like garbage, but maybe they'll help loosen them up. Alright, let's give it a go. .556 pace. Oh gosh, my legs are shot. But this is the thing with strides. You ease into them, start off slower, and see if we can melt some of that heaviness and fatigue. Yeah, touch faster. 546, making progress. Third stride, 520. Just chipping away, chipping away. Feels nice to get the legs cranking because I just plowed through basically 50 miles at an 8-minute pace since Sunday, so gotta get some turnover back. And these feel solid. Not as good as an Evo or a Nova Blast. Doesn't have the same forefoot geometry, but it's nice. Thought I was cooking on that last stride. Just trying to hit some Connor Mance pace. 520. This is demoralizing, man. Going all out, 15 seconds, and I can't even hit Connor Mance pace. Gosh. All right, last stride here. I'm gonna try really super duper hard to hit Connor Mance pace for 10 seconds. I think I can. All right, 3, 2, 1, go! Ah! Connor Mance pace! Let's go! Let's go! Feel like Brigham Young. Feel like a young Joseph Smith. Let's go. Let's go. Bang. Woo! 410 pace. Got that Joey Smith power. Let's go. I might have to beep those out. I don't know if that was over the line. Never know with these things. People calling this the Vom Plus. Stop it. Stop it. It's not that much harder to type out E-R-O. Just say Vomero Plus. And I know to go find that plus symbol, you have to press one of those weird keys on the bottom of the iPhone keyboard. You have to alter the keys that are popping up. You have to find the plus, and then you have to go back to typing. I guarantee you, you could have saved time by just typing out Vomero. So don't come up on here on my app talking about Vom Plus. Makes me want to vom. Just watch what happens when I'm walking. Can you see that slight wobble? So when the heel touches, you get that slight wobble like that. That's from the narrowness. That's the instability that I'm talking about, that our guy Ben Parks was talking about. Oh my gosh, look at this. Bro, the humidity can draw a heart. I love Max Stack. The Don.
All right, man, I do not have time. I pushed my mileage to the absolute limit of what I could get today. We got 13.1. I got to get inside. I have things to do. Oh, gosh. Come on, hurry. Let's see. 13.14 miles, 1 hour, 42 minutes, 26 seconds, 7:48 pace.
Letting the money counter run. Listening to Rick by Benny the Butcher. Also, I think that's as good as we're going to get today, man. It is so humid. Let me check what the weather says. This has got to be, if this is not 99% humidity, I don't know what is, because you step outside here and it's just real moist. 85% humidity. Where's the other 14 going to come from? Man, that's crazy. Boom. All right, Nike Vomero Plus. Don't be out here calling this the Vom Plus, man. Vom is what happens when you're sick and stuff comes out of your stomach. This is not going to make you sick, and hopefully this does not make stuff come out of your stomach. This is a really good shoe. Now, I know the question is going to be, does it live up to the hype? It's hard for things to live up to the hype. When they are this hyped, man, it's almost every Nike shoe gets this hyped, but especially when you slap a big Zoom X on here, and it's not like the Vomero 18 where it was half Zoom X or 10% Zoom X. This is full Zoom X, at least the max cushion version of Zoom X, the trading version of Zoom X. It's $180. It's competitively priced. It's in the hottest category, so of course it's going to be hyped to the moon. Does it live up to the hype? I'm going to go ahead and say no, unfortunately, just because for me, what I look for in a max cushion shoe is what the MagMax delivers, what the Glycerin Max delivers, just that ability to hang back, clomp along, not have to worry about how I'm running, not have to worry about running with good form or a high cadence or anything. Just go out there and chew through relaxed miles, and that's not what I was getting out of this. I was actually surprised at how aggressive it felt, how fast it felt. And if we throw up this run from today, I'm going to do my best to try to defog this lens here, but if we throw up the run from today, I ended up getting 13 miles. So my goal was at least 10, and I was saying I'm going to cap today at 16, and I already got 13, which is nice. I couldn't not get just some extra. You know, it's a hype shoe. We have to put it through the paces. But I was surprised at the beginning here how fast this wanted me to go. Now, I wasn't hammering marathon pace. My goal marathon pace is 5:40. I was much slower than that. I was more 7:30, 7:40. But the past few days, I've been going recovery jog pace, just very slow, very relaxed, 8 flat, 8:30, just letting the body recover, nice and gentle. This didn't feel too good at those paces. It really wanted me to put something into it, and the shoes that kept coming to mind for me were Nova Blast 5 and Evo SL. Not that it feels exactly like either of those shoes, but with the Nova Blast, similar thing. It feels the best like the Superblast, either if you jam the heel to get that stiffness and firmness out of the way, or if you land more up to the midfoot to forefoot. Now, this one is more of a midfoot shoe, and it felt really good when I was landing right how the 10 millimeter drop positions the foot. So if you think about the 10 millimeter drop, what it's going to do is put your foot up like this. When you're standing on the ground, your foot, so imagine this is the heel, these are your toes, your foot is going to be, see, just exactly like this. How this shoe wants you to land is with the bottom parallel to the ground. It actually doesn't have a huge rocker. It looks like it has a big rocker. It doesn't. I think that's an optical illusion from how this foam is contoured. It doesn't have a big rocker. So the bottom is still relatively flat, and it has your foot like this. So we still have that classic Nike wedge. And with the foot like this, it wants you to land like this. So again, this is the heel. These are your toes. So it wants your toes pushing down on the ground, which would activate the calf actually more for me. It wanted me to be in a slightly more aggressive stance and to push down power through the midfoot. Now, it's not a super aggressive shoe. It's not a fast R3. It's not a streak fly. I'm not saying it's that aggressive, but just compared to the intended purpose compared to what I thought this was going to be. More similar to the Vomero 18, which is a very relaxed shoe. That's an awesome recovery shoe. Similar to the Nimbus, and people were saying this is a better Nimbus. It doesn't quite feel like that. It's more of a Superblast. It's more of a, if you combined the Vomero 18 with an Evo SL, the foam feel is not super soft. That's another thing, right? You see ZoomX, and it has this big gigantic stack. You think of the Invincible 3. That was a very soft shoe. This is not as soft, man. This is not a fresh foam type of softness. It's more FF Blast Max, maybe even slightly firmer. So none of these things are bad. This is a very good shoe. It's just different from what I expected, given you have the Max stack of it, the ZoomX, and people saying this is the best Max cushion shoe of all time. Now, with that out of the way, the performance of it, pretty good, I think we can say, in the words of Larry David, right? So I was thinking about, what are the levels of shoes? You have trash, you have mid, you have solid, you have good, pretty good, you have banger, and you have transcendent, roughly. And maybe we'll throw, is there something between trash and mid? I don't think so. Maybe not great. Regardless, the performance of this is pretty good to good, maybe reaching up into great for some people, and it's hard because I only did one run. Yeah, it's a 13-mile one, but it's one run. It was enjoyable for me when I was able to get the bounce. Now, it is a shoe that wants you to get up on the forefoot. It is a shoe that wants you to benefit or just use that bounce. It's not as relaxed as other Max Cushion shoes. So that's the thing to keep in mind. But the good qualities of it, lightweight for how much stack you get, easy to turn over the legs, very enjoyable. There are some shoes that are just fun to run in. This is one of them. It is a very fun shoe. The Vomero 18, not a particularly fun shoe. That is more about the impact absorption. That's more about the comfort. The impact absorption of this is still great, and it has the fun. Now, the downside when it comes to the performance is because they've gone for the lightweight, because it's a bouncier shoe, it's like a stallion, right? A wild Mustang or a stallion just wants you to get up on the front here and go. The back doesn't feel the most stable. And it's a combination of the camber back here. It doesn't really let you land in a relaxed way. And it also has this narrow feeling, which is odd because it's not the narrowest shoe, but it just feels narrow back here. It almost feels like an Ultra. And that was the thing that I was realizing when I was running it. It has this pizza shape sensation where the heel feels narrower than the forefoot. That's the classic Ultra or Topo thing, where it's a very secure heel back here, and then it flares out and you get the wide toe box. It's ironic because this is a Nike, but this has some of that feel where the heel does feel like the narrow part. So if you're landing slowly and not putting a lot of force down on the heel, that is where the stability issues are going to come. Now, when I was picking up the pace, more jamming and slamming and just running with more power, I didn't feel any of those stability issues because I was just sinking in and it was popping me along. When I was going at a gentler pace and walking, well, I don't know if you were able to see it that well. I haven't looked at the footage yet, but walking along with the GoPro at the end there, you could see that, or I could see that the shoe was wobbling as I gently touched the heel to go forward with my walking stride. So that's the difference here between this, MagMax, Nimbus, even Superblast. The stability at those more relaxed paces isn't the best. So where I'm landing with this is a really fun high max stack shoe that will get the most benefit, or you will get the most benefit from when you are running with slightly more pep in your step. It doesn't feel as versatile to me as the MagMax. It doesn't feel as comfortable to me as the Glycerin Max, but it might be the fastest out of those shoes. It might be the most aggressive out of those shoes. It's slightly lighter than the MagMax, and when I was picking up the pace there, I was getting some good bounce. Now, if we look at these splits again, I did do some strides. I got down to Conor Mann's pace for 20 seconds. I threw down one stride, 20 seconds. That was 4:10 pace. So did test it some at those faster paces, not a workout or anything, and it felt serviceable. Not going to be my choice for a workout shoe, but we did see that Conor Mann's did a 25-mile long run with a 4-mile pickup at his marathon pace in the shoe. and it does feel like it could do that. And for me, it felt best when I was going 7 flat, 645, 630. So I think this is going to be a top tier, non-plated or just comfort oriented long run shoe. I do a lot of my long runs these days in carbon. I know a lot of people training for marathons also do, especially if you have marathon pace. This might be a good pick to replace the Superblast, or to be an alternative to the Superblast for people who don't like that shoe. For me, the Superblast just has this weird, crunchy, slappy feel. I wasn't getting that out of this. Much better here than the Superblast. It also is heavier. And then if we compare this to the MagMax, just lighter and slightly peppier. So trade-offs with MagMax versus this. MagMax, at least out of the box, this is the first run review, but MagMax seems to be the stabler one. This one seems to be the faster one. Other things, upper is great. It's great. And they actually didn't go for the lightest weight upper. They weren't going for a race to the bottom, a chase for the most featherweight construction here. No, they give you a lot of padding, very comfortable back here. Thick tongue is great, decently breathable. Up here too, the humidity is out of control here today. I didn't feel like the shoe was getting too wet or anything. And then absolutely no rubbing at all. I got this in a size 10.5 and it feels decently generous. So if you have a higher volume foot, this should work for you. And when I was lacing it up and everything, I cranked down the laces pretty good. And I felt like I could have even just opened it up way more if I needed to accommodate a bigger foot. So upper, dialed. Outsole, again, this is just a first run review, but doesn't feel on the same level as some of the other max cushion shoes out there. Even compared to the Nimbus and the, what is that, the Asics, is it the Asics Grip Plus? Whatever the good rubber is that they have on the Nimbus, that feels grippier than this for the rain. Of course, the Puma grip is grippier. I did feel I was just, it wasn't gripping the ground as much as I would have liked. These Nike outsoles do tend to just last forever, and you're not going to be running in the rain all the time, but that is something to mention. I wouldn't not choose the shoe because of the outsole. That was bad English. That was a double negative. But the outsole isn't so bad that it would force me to buy a different shoe. It's fine, but just compared to the other shoes, definitely below the Puma grip and one step below the Asics grip. Not the absolute best for the rain. Other things, protection, top tier, man. So I went 13 miles. My plan was to go 10 miles, and my test for these shoes is always, for the Super Max Stack shoes, does it give me the ability to fight back? Does it want to make me, does it make me want to run more? Or would I be getting to 10 miles like I do with some of these other shoes, a Glisher in 22, for example, and just say, oh, get this off my foot? No, that was not the case here. I had to go to a meeting, so I ended the run, but man, I could have gone 14 miles. I could have gone 15 miles. So this does seem to have that high mileage training quality to it where it's just a fun shoe to run in. Not the absolute best for stability or comfort, and definitely not a super soft shoe. All the marketing copy is, of course, going to say this is the softest thing ever, but that's what every brand says. No, this is Goldilocks zone. So not as soft as the More V6, not as firm as the Superblast. This seems like it's going to work well for a lot of people. I think the main downside is going to be just the chunkiness of the heel with the 10 millimeter drop is noticeable. Every time I say I think the 10 millimeter drop isn't going to be that bad, and then every time I'm reminded why a lot of brands have shifted. If they made this 2 millimeters lower and slightly wider, that could have saved all the issues with the shoe. It would have eliminated the stability issue, it would have fixed the wobbliness, and it would have made it a smoother transition, because right now you got to be jamming the heel down to get the most benefit. So with that, let us close it out with those 3 questions we always ask and answer on these first run reviews. First, how does this do versus its intended purpose? Now, I, silly me, uneducated hobby jogger, thought that because Nike was saying ultra plush cushioning, tuned for maximum cushioning, ZoomX, I personally thought, again, silly me, that this was going to be a soft max cushion shoe, great for relaxed miles. Also because that's what the Vomero 18 is. And that's not super soft, but great for relaxed miles. And this is supposed to be the Plus. This is not a Pegasus. The Pegasus is supposed to be the responsive one. So for the intended purpose, I'm not going to say it's bad, but it's weird. This doesn't feel like the most relaxed shoe. I actually think this should have been the Pegasus Premium. Not that the Pegasus Premium is a bad shoe. I actually really like that shoe. But just in terms of the names, the Pegasus Premium feels more of like the Vomero Plus. That should have been the Vomero Plus. That one feels like more of the relaxed cruiser. That one feels like more of the max cushion comfort. That one is more of the soft ride. This is more of the peppy responsive, and it has the gosh dang race foam in here. So that's the confusing thing for me about the shoe when you're thinking about the intended purpose. It's not a More V6, it's not a Glizzy Max, it's not a MagMax. It's closer to a Superblast. It's closer to one of these long run cruisers where you want to get out here and throw some pace. Now, I did test it with the last few miles here, just jogging, cooling down, and it seemed it was getting better slightly. So I'm also wondering if this foam will break in and the heel will soften up any, and that can make it slightly better at relaxed paces. And it's not terrible or anything. It's not like running in a Sky Paris at the relaxed paces, but we have to think about the category as well as the intended purpose. So that brings me to question number 2. Versus the other shoes in the category, definitely the most energetic. Man, the Superblast, that's a shoe where for me, I've just never really gotten along with it, but when you throw down some force, you can get it going. With this one, it has this natural bounce. It has this fun pep to it. It has this really just welcoming, bubbly character, and that is different from a lot of these Super Max cushion shoes. The MagMax, that's old reliable. The Glizzy, that's the worn-in pair of blue jeans, the comfort, right? The Nimbus, that's just the classic in the category. This, it feels like something new. It feels like something fresh. It is fun. It is bouncy. Probably the fastest out of that category. So anything that it's sacrificing with comfort or just with the ease of use and the more relaxed feel, you're getting back in speed. So if you are looking for a long run shoe to push the pace but leave the legs feeling fresh, I think you're gonna like this one. The ride of it isn't anything completely different than what I've experienced before, but it's a nice evolution of the Invincible. And that's the other thing with the Invincible being on the market for so long. I ran into that over the weekend. It's 33 millimeters in the heel now. This is 43 millimeters in the heel. It came out, 2 years ago. This feels like a really nice evolution, change, progression, improvement from that older model. Slightly stiffening up the foam, going up in stack height, keeping the weight really competitive, but keeping that energetic bounce. Man, they nailed it in terms of what the Invincible should be, but it's just up to us not to put crazy expectations on these shoes because there are going to be trade-offs and limitations. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. And last thing, question number 3 here, how does it compare to everything else on the market? It is not a silver bullet, and so often these shoes come out. Superblast 2, Evo SL, and now the Mega Blast is going to be the next one that gets hyped to the moon. This one's getting hyped to the moon. It's a running shoe. It's $180, which I love. They priced it competitively, but it's a non-plated max stack shoe. It's really good at running long miles with putting some pace on it, and maybe I'll even love it for other stuff after I put some more miles into it, but it's not going to save your marriage. It's not going to pay off your student loans. It's not going to help you get a promotion unless maybe you run in it and you're so excited to run more and you start stacking the miles that you become a better employee because you're more disciplined. You become a better husband and your wife is more attracted to you because you got in shape, and then it saves your marriage. I don't know about the student loans thing. This is probably going to put a dent in your savings. But yeah, these shoes are not silver bullets, and I'm exaggerating. We don't actually think they're going to change our lives, but just in terms of the running, we do put high expectations on these shoes. It's like the Evo SL, the best shoe of all time, the shoe that can do everything. No, it's a really good shoe, but it's a more aggressive daily shoe / what some people would call tempo trainer or speed training shoe. So you always got to think about the intended purpose. That's why I close out these first run reviews with these 3 questions. And with the intended purpose of this, I don't care what Nike says, just go into it with the frame of this is going to be a fun, peppy, long run shoe with some stability issues. And again, it's not the worst, most unstable shoe in the world, but my job as a reviewer is to highlight what the flaws are, so I'm saying it. If you come into it with the right frame, you're not going to be disappointed. This is a really nice shoe. It's another great training shoe in the Nike lineup. They've come out with a lot of these competitively priced at $180. It feels like it's worth it. They could have put this up at 200, and at 180, that really does feel appropriate. So it's going to give you more pep than the Nimbus. It's going to give you more comfort than a Nova Blast or an Evo SL. It's almost right in the middle of those two types of shoes, right? It's not as relaxed as the Nimbus MagMax Glycerin, and then it's not as fast as the Nova Blast and Evo SL. So if you're looking for one of those hybrid shoes, this is going to be great. I could see this being an awesome shoe if you want a 1 shoe or 2 shoe rotation. If you have something lower and faster, if you've been training a lot in the Evo SL and you want something different, or training a lot in the Rebel V5 and want something higher stack, this would be good. Just for me personally, if I were doing a 2 shoe rotation, I don't know if I would go for this with my higher mileage, because I just prefer a more relaxed ride in my Max Cushion shoes. But overall, really good shoe. I'm not going to call it a banger, but it's solid. It's great for the price point. The foam feels nice. Overall, they did a fantastic job with this. So I think the hype was high for this. It's not the best Max Cushion shoe of all time, but with some more miles, I could see it being a shoe that I start to rely on a lot with the training. We'll just have to see 2 things: how the heel breaks in, and then how the foam does for a true longer run. Because maybe this will be an awesome shoe for a 2.5 hour, 3 hour long run with no race pace. So stay tuned for that testing. Let me know what other questions you have. Make sure you're signed up for the Supwell app. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of these going up on the Supwell app, because people are going to be buying them thinking it's going to give their mom an extra 10 years of life. People are going to be buying these thinking it's going to help them. I couldn't think of any other thing. People are going to buy these thinking it's going to help them pay down their underwater car loan quicker, and then turns out they don't, so they're going to have to resell it on the Supwell app at a price that is depreciated. So get in on the Supwell app to get a great deal on a pair of Vomero Plus. I appreciate you. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. These do seem Virgil inspired. You know what I mean? They wrote "run" on the running shoe. Is that not Virgil inspired? It's like writing midsole on the midsole. Writing brick on the brick. Grind hard because my life been dark. Trying to do numbers like Ben Parks. I'm not done. I'm not done. You know I had to double back for the second run. I'm not done. I know they're saying stop. Stop. Stop with all that mileage. Stop killing them with the mileage. Let them breathe. Let them breathe. Nah. We're going to keep killing them with the mileage. Let's go. Might have to get them to write mileage on my high mileage training shoes. I might go ahead and ask the Virgil estate if I can write stack on my Max Stack behemoths. Man, all right. Second run of the day in the Vomero Plus. This is such a comfortable shoe with the upper and everything. It's not super soft, but it just has this nice, comfortable feel. It really does have a similar spirit to the Vomero. I didn't compare it that much to the Vomero earlier, but step-in feel is up there. It's up there with the Vomero. So this second run is going to be short recovery run. We'll get some insights on how this does at a more relaxed pace. These are the types of runs where I love the standard Vomero. You don't get a lot of pop, but you just get a lot of impact absorption. So quick double day test. Let us see how this does. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Another great high mileage day. I think I said I was supposed to get a max of what, 16? That's not what happened. We went longer than that. We got 18 today, so 5 in the afternoon, 13 in the morning. I don't usually do odd numbers. That's weird. I think people just have their systems and their routes, right? I'll usually do 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. I'll do 15 sometimes, or 21, 23. I don't usually do 5. But this is the thing with going higher mileage these days. It's just adding 1 mile here, adding 1 mile there. That makes it a lot easier than to do something crazy like add in an additional 10-mile run or double your distances. No, instead of going 4 this afternoon, I go 5. Instead of going, 8 this morning? Or instead of going 10, we went 13. So Vomero Plus, oh man, we got some dirtiness on the tongue here on this light color. That's the downside of the no-show socks. And I know no-show socks are not in vogue anymore. On vogue. They're not cool. Well, guess what? That's what I have. I don't really care about being cool. I care about being economical and using what I have. I have the darn tough socks. But the downside is if you're sweating a lot, some of these white uppers will get dirty. So we already got these dirty. But yeah, 18-mile day. That second run confirmed a lot of my thoughts from the morning. Firmer than you likely think. Bouncier and faster than you likely think as well. This thing can really cruise. I put down my fastest miles of the week so far in this. I finished that with a 7:30 mile. I was downhill, so maybe 10-second assist on that mile, and that's not super fast or anything. I regularly run miles in the 5s, but on tired legs, this does give some bounce. Now, you do have to put some pepper and some mustard into it. That is the classic Nike thing. They don't make shoes that, other than the Alpha Fly, that completely make it easier to run, that give you a lot of the assistance. Nike is known for these workhorse style shoes. So this is more of a workhorse style shoe, but the bounce is really good. The protection is great. Man, 18-mile day, this is not getting mushy at all. I could do a 30-mile day in this. I really feel like I could do a 25-mile long run in it like Connor Mintz did. So those are the good things about it. It's just a really solid shoe. It's been hyped to the moon. I don't know if it's going to live up to your expectations. It's different than what I expected, but it's great, man. I was thinking this is one of these shoes where if I were to just quit ShoeTube and not worry about having the perfect this, the best of that, which I think a lot of us do, I would be perfectly fine with having this as my max cushion shoe. So far, not my absolute favorite, but a really serviceable pick. So I'm excited to do some long run testing in it, just stack a bunch more mileage, but this is a really solid one to have in the stable. So 18-mile day, we had to let them know. For some reason, anytime I run high mileage, I think there's just imaginary enemies that I'm destroying. It's like 23-mile day. Oh, we're just destroying them. We're slaughtering the Hessians. No, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the mileage. But yeah, that was a good day. I was planning on taking a recovery day. I'm still feeling pretty banged up from the mileage, but this is the thing. We got to go. We got to just keep plugging away. It's hot now. I don't know if my Garmin has the weather on here. I think it stopped working. It says high of 86 today. Boy, it feels hot out here with the humidity. So more obstacles, more mileage. I'm going to try to throw in a workout either tomorrow or Friday, see how my legs respond with all the volume. It's all good stuff, baby. We just got to keep that mileage train rolling. Let's go. I'm telling you, man, I don't even like ShoeTube like that anymore. This is like my 5th priority. But I got to feed the streets. They call me Stack Dorsey. Out here operating multiple business ventures. Let's go.